In today's video, I'll be breaking down exactly what our UFC fighters like Julio Arce eat before training so they can dominate on the mats. Stay tuned. What's going on? Coach Adam back with another video. Our mission at Counter-Strike is to help combat athletes build relentless cardio, unbreakable strength, and eat like a pro so they can dominate on the mats or in the cage. So if that sounds like you, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything that we're dropping. And if you're feeling generous, only if you're feeling generous, hit the like button, help us out. The support really helps the channel so we can reach more athletes and grow. In today's video, we're talking about nutrition, specifically what to eat before training. If you've ever heard the phrase, you are what you eat, it's a true statement. If we're eating like crap, we are going to feel like crap when we train. And I talk to a lot of athletes that suffer with sluggishness or burnout or just bad cardio. And by implementing the nutritional strategies that we're going to talk about today, instantly, like literally in a day, changes their performance from okay to incredible. This is going to be a huge needle mover in your performance, your energy, your cardio, and your strength just by implementing this one rule that we're going to talk about today. So when I'm coaching any of the athletes on the Counter-Strike system, whether they're MMA athletes, kickboxers, boxers, jiu-jitsu athletes, the method that I'm gonna teach in this video today is one of the very first things that I teach them to make sure that they're eating the right foods to properly fuel their training. So the method that I'm going to teach, it's called the 4-2-1 rule. The 4-2-1 rule. And just like it sounds like, there are 3 steps that go into the 4-2-1 rule. So step number 1, the 4 hours before you train, you are going to eat a meal. You are going to eat a meal that consists of protein, carbs, fats, and vegetables. This is the furthest away from our training, and we're starting to basically prime our body, put a lot of nutrients, put a lot of fuel in our body. So we have 4 hours. It's enough time to break all of this food down and start loading up our muscles and our blood with the energy needed to perform. So what should this 4-hour meal look like? Well, I want you to envision a plate. Okay, I want half of that plate to consist of carbs. I want a quarter of that plate to consist of protein. And I want another quarter of that plate to consist of vegetables. Okay, so half of our plate is carbs, a quarter is protein, a quarter is vegetables. What specific food should you be eating in each of those categories? Let's talk about protein first. So I'm gonna pull up a list of proteins. You're gonna see that there's a green column, a yellow column, and a red column. Throughout the entire method, whether it's the 4, the 2, or the 1, we wanna try to eat most of our proteins out of this green column. So we're looking for lean proteins like chicken breast, like a lean red meat. Fish can be great options, so we want to pick a nice, healthy, lean protein out of the green column. When it comes to our carbs, I'm going to bring another list up. So again, during this 4 period, we want to eat most of our carbs out of the green column. These are going to be more complex carbs like quinoa or brown rice. They're going to take a little bit longer to digest and break down, but we have 4 hours before training, so there's gonna be plenty of time to break the food down so that energy, those carbs, are readily available for our performance on the mats or in the cage. For our fats, again, we wanna aim for the foods listed in the green column here. We wanna try to shoot for unsaturated fats. This could be like olive oil or avocado. This could be what you cook your food in, or maybe a little bit of fat like nuts or avocado on the side. And for our vegetables, we want to try to eat the rainbow, leafy greens, oranges, reds. These could be peppers, carrots, broccoli, whatever vegetables you prefer. We want to eat a quarter of our plate in those veggies. So we have the 4 part of our 4-2-1 rule. This is a meal 4 hours before we train. Now for number 2 is our 2 part of the rule. We're going to have a snack 2 hours before we train. Now, this is a snack that's going to consist of just protein and just carbs. We're 2 hours before we train, so there really isn't enough time for our body to break down fibrous vegetables or fats. This could lead to a little bit of stomach discomfort. It could make us feel a little bit sluggish when we're going onto the mats or we're going into the cage. So we want a snack that consists of protein and carbs. Again, I'm gonna bring up my list here. For the proteins, we wanna try to aim for proteins that are in the green column. And for our carbs, we wanna try to eat carbs this time that are in the orange or the yellow column in the middle there. So we could have something like yogurt and granola or yogurt and fruit. We could have a protein bar and some fruit. We could have a protein shake. We could have a smoothie. We wanna make sure that we're getting protein and we're getting carbs. The carbs, again, are going to give us the energy that are needed for training. And the protein is really important for maintaining the muscle mass that we have and assisting with our recovery. And now the final part of our 4-2-1 rule, that number one slot, 1 hour before your training session, you're going to have 30 to 60 grams of a simple carbohydrate. So if we bring our carb list back up, this is going to be carbs out of the red column. This could be something like a sports drink or applesauce. There are a lot of great carb supplements too, like dextrose, that can provide a lot of energy, sustainable throughout training. I'm gonna drop a link down in the description where you can check out some of my favorite carb supplements for pre-training fueling. But again, we want 30 to 60 grams of a simple carbohydrate before we train. This is going to digest fast. We do not want to do like brown rice or potatoes with skin or whole grain bread, because this is going to take too much time to digest. If I eat these kinds of complex carbohydrates an hour before I train, they're still going to be digesting while I train. If you've ever felt just a lot of food sitting in your stomach, or you felt sluggish, or you just don't feel like you have energy during training, even if you ate before training, you probably ate something that's still digesting while you're training. The beautiful thing about simple carbohydrates like a sports drink is that most of the digestion happens in your mouth. So you don't have to worry about your stomach breaking the food down. The sugar is gonna go right into your bloodstream, and then it's gonna be readily available for you so you can have consistent energy throughout training. I actually have a kickboxing session in about 40 minutes. I gotta leave soon to go to kickboxing. I'm in my 1 hour time period. So I actually have a waffle with a little bit of syrup here. So I'm getting my carbs in. This is about like 30 grams of carbs. I'm gonna have a little bit of applesauce on my drive to kickboxing. So I'm gonna be completely fueled when I go and do my training session. And here's a quick bonus for you. I get this question a lot. What happens if you don't have enough time before training to get the full 4-2-1 rule in? Either training super early, or you have back-to-back sessions and there just isn't enough time in between sessions to get the entire rule in. Well, the answer is really simple. Basically, you use the part of the rule that fits best with your timing. So if you have a training session at 10 a.m. and you wake up at 8 a.m., then just do the 2 and the 1 part of the rule. If you have a striking session and then a jiu-jitsu session right after it or an hour after it, then just use the 1 part of the rule. It's important to understand that most people have an all or none mentality. Well, I don't have 4 hours between training or before training, so I'm just not gonna eat anything. We have to make sure that we do the most with what we have. A really good analogy that I like is if we're in a car and we're driving and our gas tank is about to be empty and I don't have enough money to fill up my tank completely with gas, I don't just say, well, screw it, I guess I'm just gonna break down on the side of the road. No, you put $5 in the tank, you go as far as you can until you can put more gas in the tank, until you can eventually fill it up. And that's how we have to look at our nutrition. That's how we have to look at our training. There's never a perfect situation. This is why it's really important that you have a coach that you trust, that can keep you accountable, and that can put you on a plan that can change no matter what's happening in your life. But that's all I have for you today, the 4-2-1 rule. Implement it immediately. If you're training today or tomorrow, this is going to change your game. It's one of the biggest needle movers for all of the athletes on our fight team. As always, if you have any questions or want to learn something specific about strength, conditioning, or nutrition for combat athletes, let me know in the comments down below. Until next time, I'll catch you later.